Hello grade 6s. Today we are learning about subtracting and adding decimals, and that's continuing on from yesterday where we were studying adding decimals. And a shout out to Jalen and Jacob Richards. Good job for doing your homework yesterday. Okay, so yesterday we were adding decimals, and the big thing that you need to know about adding decimals is that you have to line up where the decimal is. You don't necessarily line up by the right of the numbers, you line up by the decimal. And subtracting is just like adding in that way. You have to line up where the decimal is. So, and then just subtract as if the decimals aren't there. So for example, if we had 73.45 minus 1.31, where would we put that? So let's see, 1.31. So the point's going to be here, so 1.31. Okay. And if you don't have paper and a pencil with you already, you should pause the video and go get some, because I'm going to be running through a bunch of questions that I'd like you to try as we go along, and that will help make sure that you know what you're doing. Okay, so then we just subtract as if this decimal is not even here. 5 minus 1, 4. 4 minus 3, 1. 3 minus 1, 2. 7 minus 0, 7. And then you can add in the decimal, or as you go along, you can do that. 72.14. Okay, let's try this one. 7.4 minus 2.1. So you line those up where the decimal is. 4 minus 1 is 3, decimal. 7 minus 2, 5. Okay, try this one. 6.93. Where would we put 4.52? So 4.52, subtract 3 minus 2 is 1, 9 minus 5 is 4, 6 minus 4 is 2. So I know I'm going too fast for you to be able to do those, but just pause it once you get the question written down, or once I've got the question written down, just pause it and then you can do that. Okay, we'll try one more here. What about 6.5 minus 3? Where would we write the 3? Would we write it here or here? Well, we'd write it under here, because if you have a number without a decimal, that really means that the decimal is here. You don't need to write the decimal because we don't, there's no digits after the decimal place. And what we would put here if we want to is a 0. Okay? 5 minus 0 is 5. 6 minus 3 is 3. And we'd have 3.5. Okay, so those were pretty straightforward. Now we're going to try some where we have to regroup to get our answer. So let's just say we had 53.21 subtract 6.72. So see how we line up these decimals right in the same place, and then we subtract as if the decimal isn't there. So 1 minus 2. So this is the same problem that you'll run into in subtraction, whether there's a decimal or not. So just do what you'd normally do. Borrow from your neighbor. Okay, so this 2 will become a 1. This becomes an 11. 11 minus 2 is 9. 1 minus 7. Oh, we can't do that, so we've got to borrow. So 11 minus 7 is 4. 2 minus 6, we can't do that, so we have to borrow from here. 12 minus 6. So then we got 46.49. So remember, if this is the hundredths place, then you can take one of these tenths and break that up into smaller pieces so that you have it over here, so that instead of having 1/10, then you have 10 more hundredths. Let me show you what that would look like. So here you had 2 of these, like this. This won't stay probably, but then you can take one of these 2 away, so this will become a 1, and then you give this to the 1/100th that you have, and then, but instead of having a whole bunch of these, or a whole line of these, you're going to have 10 of them. So adding 10 to that one that you already have, then you'll have 11. And then you're able to subtract subtract that 2 to get a 9. Okay? Alright, let's look at another one where we have to regroup. So, okay, so if we had one where it's 0.71 minus 0.44, it's just like subtracting 44 from 71. We just keep that decimal there and then we subtract. But we have to borrow, don't we? So some of you could just do this one in your head and you could see what the answer is, or you can regroup. So 11 minus 4, 7. We change this 7 to a 6 because we took 1 out to give to here. 6 minus 4, 2.27. Okay, I'll try this next one. 0.37 minus 0.29. So we can't subtract 9 from 7, that's too small, so let's borrow. This becomes a 2, we'll take one of these, and when we change it to hundredths, then it becomes 10 hundredths. 10 hundredths plus 7 is 17. Okay, 17 minus 9 is 8. 2 minus 2 is 0. And that's 0, so 0.08. Okay, we'll try one more where you have to regroup. 34.85, 0.68. Remember, we're always lining up these decimal points here. Okay, 5 minus 8. We can't do that. Let's borrow from here. Take one of these. That becomes a 7. And when we have 1/10 and change it into hundredths, we'd get 10 hundredths. 10 hundredths plus 5 hundredths is 15. 15 minus 8 is 7. 7 minus 6 is 1. And then we have 34. Okay. Okay, now we'll try one more group of questions. And in these questions, it's a little bit trickier lining them up because the decimals don't have the same number of digits after the decimal point. So in a way it's a little bit trickier, but it's not really if you know, you just have to line up those decimals. So for example, if you had 1.987 minus 0.45, how would we write that down? So this one has 3 digits after the decimal, and that one has only 2. So what you would do, you don't have to put it, you're not going to put it like this. We want those decimals to be together, right? So, look at this, 0.45. So is that a problem that there's nothing there? If you don't like that, you can just put a 0 there because there is no number there, which is the same as saying 0. Okay, so, and then we can say 7 minus 0 is 7. 8 minus 5, 3. 9 minus 4, 5. And 1. 1.537. Okay. Let's try another one. Okay, if we had 7.8 minus 2.345. Now this looks a little harder, doesn't it? Because there's nothing here and we need to subtract 45. But we know that 8/10 is the same as 80 hundredths. And that's the same, just like this. 8/10 is the same as 80 hundredths. And it's also the same as 800 thousandths. So we can just put those zeros in there. And then when we subtract, we'll borrow. So this guy needs to borrow from this guy. This one doesn't have any, so we need to borrow from here. So make that a 7. We'll give 1/10 over here, which will turn this into 10 hundredths. And then we'll take 1 away from that and give it to the thousandths, which will make it 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 4 is 5. 7 minus 3 is 4. Put our decimal. 7 minus 2, 5. 5.5455. And then the way you can check your answers, as always with subtracting, is just add them and see. So if we added those together, we'd get a 0 and carry the 1. 5 plus 4 is 9 plus 1, which is 10. Carry the 1. 4 plus 3 is 7 plus 1 is 8. 5 plus 2 is 7. So we're correct. Okay, so that's it for instructions, and I'll just tell you what your homework is. So for homework, we are going to do page 118 to 119, number 3A B, C, D. Number 4, A, B, C, D. Number 7, A, B, C, D, E. And number 9. So great. If you have any questions, just email me, and yeah, have a great day.